Today on the Paul Harrell program, President Trump is utilizing the Texas National Guard. Reports indicate that he's sending them to Illinois and Oregon, specifically Chicago and Portland. There's talk of possibly the Insurrection Act being declared at some point. Stephen Miller is putting that out there. And at the same time, we now have leftists, of all people, advocating for states' rights. I didn't have that on my bingo card. The Paul Harrell program starts right now.
Paul Harrell program.
All right, folks, welcome again. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great Sunday and a blessed Lord's Day. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Rob Spencer. Rob, thank you once again for being with me.
Paul, it is an honor to be here on this lovely Monday here, rainy Monday here where we are. I am about to sneeze. I am sorry.
No, it
about
is
that.
okay. It's okay. You can sneeze. The camera's on me now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
It's gonna you've been jinxed.
Now I won't come out of there.
Yeah, you've been jinxed.
Come back to me.
You're there.
I'm good.
You're there.
Okay. But anyway, what a great way to start the show. Obviously, huge news right now. Trump he's gonna find a way to get the National Guard into these places. He is going to stop the crime. He is going to protect ICE agents who are going in there and following the law. You are upset. Democrat governors, you're upset because you don't like the look of a Republican president coming into Chicago. You don't like the look of a Republican president coming into Seattle. But guess what? You're not the president. You don't get to make that call.
Yeah.
You are just a lowly governor. And as much as you'd like to, you are insignificant because there's 49 others just like you.
Yeah. Well, and this is all going to get tied up in the courts, I'm sure. Again, they're going to start talking about, you've got Gavin Newsom now saying, well, states can't invade other states. But that's not what's going on here.
They're just lying out of there.
I know. You have the president utilizing the National Guard. The court stopped him from utilizing California's. And so now you've got Texas, which is willing to say, hey, we'll do it. We're not going to challenge this. Go ahead and take them. And we've got these incidents of violence where you got a woman that was shot over the weekend, but they were blocking the federal agents' cars in. You can't do that.
What are you supposed to Let me just tell you something. Okay, look, think of the federal agents, ICE, the National Guard. Think of all of them the exact same way that you would think about a police officer. Think of it as, I'm going to block this police officer from arresting this person or leaving here with this suspect or whatever. See what happens to you.
Exactly.
See what happens to you.
Yeah, you'll get arrested and then you'll get out on cash bail if you're or no cash bail.
Or no cash bail.
If you're in Chicago. But I think that's kind of the point here. Is this has been going on for far too long. And at some point the bill comes due, is what they say. Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that the Democrats hate Trump so much that they want their citizens terrorized. President Trump actually responded to what's going on in Chicago just a few moments ago from the Oval Office.
So you have black women with MAGA hats on in Chicago, all over the place. They want the Guard to come in, or they don't care who comes in. They just want to be safe. And they really don't care. There was one woman, she was great today. She said, you know what? I don't care if it's the National Guard, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. I don't care who comes in as long as we're safe. And that's the way most of the public feels.
Exactly. You're not going to hear that, obviously, from these officials because they cannot give a voice to that. Right?
Well, we already saw that. We already saw that in Chicago, Paul, where these lifelong Democrats, these true blue 50-year-old black women going to these city council meetings where Brandon Johnson shows up with his. Is he not the most insufferable? Him, they're both in the same state.
Yeah.
But Newsom's really, really bad. But Pritzker and Brandon Johnson there in Illinois and Chicago, it is. They are some of the most insufferable human beings alive. They are literally lying every other word out of their mouth because it's all even when they get called out on it, they will say something like, "Well, he brought before Congress there, and they were asking about the transgender stuff. Like, do you believe that men should be able to use women's restrooms and stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah, what we believe in is having a safe Chicago for our."
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
It's insane.
What are you talking about?
So ABC 7 Chicago, this was a local ABC affiliate's report on the incident that happened this weekend.
And of Homeland Security says there were 2 separate alleged incidents of drivers using their vehicles to ram into other vehicles with federal agents. According to a federal criminal complaint, Marimar Martinez and Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz used multiple vehicles to strike a vehicle driven by federal agents in Brighton Park yesterday.
Okay, now so she was shot because once the way the story goes is that they were boxed in, federal agent couldn't get out, came out and started shooting.
Yeah,
shot 5 times, hit her once, and they found her. They drove off and she parked somewhere and they found her, and then they arrested these 2 people. But this is you have Kristi Noem now claiming that the cartel are behind maybe some of the stuff, that they're behind a doxing campaign for sure, trying to dox these federal agents and everything else. But like to your point earlier, if you did that to a police car, if you rammed into a police car, then you boxed them in, what are they going to do? They're going to shoot you.
It's not going to go well for you. You're going to be lucky if that is not your last day on Earth.
That's exactly right. And that's why I want to get to Pritzker here in a minute. But before we do, the police chief superintendent, Larry Snelling of Chicago, is actually making an incredible amount of sense. Listen to that. We got 2 clips here. Listen.
We don't have to agree with it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to agree with it. We do not interfere with their orders. And when they go out to carry out their orders, they will do that the way that they're trained to do it and their understanding of what it is they have to do. Another one. CPD will not arrest and cannot arrest federal agents because someone deems what they're doing is illegal or unlawful. Their rules of engagement are different from CPD and other local law enforcement agents. We need to be clear about this. If we're not clear about this, we will see another event like we saw Saturday. We cannot move like this in this city. If we want to keep the peace in this city, we need to be smart about how we do things.
Okay, so then he said, go ahead. You want to respond to that first?
Well, what I'm just trying to say is, like, he's addressing that because people are trying to get him to do it. Just arrest these ICE officers. Yeah. Just arrest these federal officers. Wait, you're a beat cop in Chicago. No disrespect for that, because honestly, you got a lot more balls than I've got. Right. If you're going to walk around the streets of Chicago, as a police officer, you got some guts. But people are calling on them to arrest ICE officers because they believe that the ICE officers are breaking federal law. And you're like, there's so much of a rumbling there that the police chief is having to address it. What are you people smoking? What are you listening to? Are you just sitting around on your couch without a shirt, eating Cheetos, and listening to MSNBC all day?
Pretty much, Rob.
Because they don't live in reality. MSNBC does not live in reality, folks.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not really sure because it's kind of the shoes on the other foot, right? I mean, like I said at the top of the show, the left is now claiming states' rights, or now they're claiming this is tyranny, that the ICE going in there and arresting people is now tyranny. And that's the narrative they're going to push. And I talked earlier today about like Civil War conditions, just in terms of, I mean, I think there are elements that would love for something like that to happen, love for something like that to break out. Obviously, the media is going to run with it. And we'll talk about this here in a minute. You've got this Virginia Attorney General a candidate who's caught texting about the death of a Republican lawmaker, want his children to die.
Future fascists.
Yeah, and so you're like, wow, okay, so again, this is the feature of them. They're now violent like this. And so you get to the point where and I keep making this point, and I'm sorry I do, but both sides think they've got the moral high ground on these issues. So how do you resolve it? And the only way it's get resolved is somebody's going to lose. And in this case, right now, we have the power, and Trump is saying, look, I'm going to restore law and order to America's cities.
Mm-hmm. One side is advocating for the enforcement of law. The other is advocating for the breaking of law.
Yeah.
You can.
That's exactly right. And they've been
church it up
sanctuary.
how you
Look,
want
they've
to.
been sanctuary cities. Their local governments have enabled the continuation of our of breaking of our laws for decades upon decades. And so this is what happens.
And we've talked about it before, Paul. You know, you and I have very different immigration stances in terms of, you know, people who are here illegally. You know, I have a different stance for someone who's been here for a long time and is a member of the community and all of that. However, you tell me which laws are okay to break. You just say, like, okay, well, if we're not following this law, we're not following that law, we're not following this law. So can you give us a list of laws that you're okay with breaking? Now, why in the world do you think you have the moral high ground to say, hey, we don't want those laws enforced, yet when our party was completely in power, had the supermajority with Barack Obama. Remember that when he had 60 senators? Mm-hmm. Like that, you didn't even need a single Republican vote in his first term, or at least up till midterms of his first term. You didn't need it. There was a Democratic blue wave. They could have fixed all of this stuff, and they didn't do it.
Right.
But yet you're going to go pull the ballot for them. You're going to go pull the lever for them in 2026 because you think they're going to fix it now.
Yeah.
You know, they never fixed it.
Right.
They had the chance to fix it because guess what? They don't want those immigrants living on their street either.
Yeah. Oh,
They won't live. They don't want them on their street. They don't want them in their neighborhood. They just want a virtue signal and say, hey, you know, we're just helping people out.
Yeah.
We're just helping people out.
And to your previous point about laws, you know, which list of laws, you know, can we break or which ones we follow? It just depends on your politics. Like to them, it depends on your politics. If they didn't want to enforce a law because it affected Democrats, they would turn right around and use that very law if it was against a person that they disagree with politically.
Yeah. And everybody's like, well, you know, the immigrants on the whole commit fewer crimes than you know, natural-born citizens and all of that stuff. And we're like, okay, well, natural-born citizens is a problem that we have to deal with, and we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. We can't take away, and I really wish Trump wouldn't talk about that crap with Rosie O'Donnell because that's stupid. Don't, you know, it's funny, but like, don't be trying to take away.
Yeah, the natural born citizen thing is gonna end up in the Supreme Court.
Sure. You know, so. But I'm just trying to say is like, you know, don't sit here and say, okay, well, you know, this person was born in the United States, this person wasn't, and this person who wasn't has committed, you know, like their population or whatever has committed fewer crimes. Well, those crimes shouldn't have been committed in the first place because they shouldn't have been here to commit those crimes.
That's exactly right.
Right. That's what we're trying to talk about. It's like, okay, well, yeah, maybe this white men are more likely to be serial killers. Okay, sure. You know, if you want to look at all of the statistics of it, white men are more likely. But that's a problem that we have to deal with because they are already born here. We can't kick them out.
Yeah.
Can't kick them out of here. But this person comes from
Guatemala.
Yeah. Right. Is a serial rapist. Okay. Commits all these crimes. Commits multiple murders. Well, that's a problem that we could have prevented
completely
without this immigration hole that we had over the last 4 years, and ultimately for the last however many years.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, the larger issue, obviously, it's more concentrated in Chicago and Portland and these other cities, but this is about Americans being terrorized by government policies, or you know, by actual terrorists, but. You know, it's been enabled by our own government. They've been running a proxy war against the American people.
And I saw that it's been rehashed right now with J.D. Vance was it Martha Radisson there with what's her face? She's a leftist lunatic, but she was like, it was just a handful of apartment complexes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
yeah.
and he's like, Martha, wait, listen to yourself. Only a handful of apartment complexes were taken over by Venezuelan gangs in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, listen to yourself. You get so desensitized to this stuff, and you don't look like, no, this shouldn't have been allowed.
It's just a little bit of violence.
Just a little bit of violence.
Just a little bit of fentanyl.
A little bit of fentanyl.
Will kill you.
Yeah. Oh, they're just bringing some drugs on that boat that was blown up in the Caribbean.
No, those people had constitutional rights.
You know what they were going to go? They were going to go sell some drugs on Saturday night, but they would have been in church on Sunday.
There you go. This police chief or superintendent, he went on in this press conference earlier. Larry Snelling is his name. Listen.
Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed.
By the cartel, by the way. That's what the cartel does.
In a deadly situation.
That's what the mob does, you know?
And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that.
I can't believe it.
And you are putting yourself in danger.
Yeah.
Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death.
So that's why the guy came up and shot.
Yeah.
You know.
And this police chief is doing what he should do, because we've seen the videos where there's like a caravan, people where they're following around, they're trying to obstruct the ICE officers from doing their job, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. The police, let me remind you of something, right? Because what do we have in America? Police officer pulls you over for a traffic offense. Maybe they suspect that you have drugs in your vehicle. Maybe it's an unreasonable search. They arrest you, or they search your vehicle, but they really didn't have probable cause to do it, and all of that stuff, and you stand out there on the side of the highway and you argue, and then you get hit with resisting arrest, obstruction of justice, all of this other stuff. What does every attorney watching that video tell you? Don't do this. Just comply. Go into custody.
Exactly.
And then fight this in court. But what are these protesters doing, Paul? They're making themselves the judge, the jury, and the executioner all together there. Yeah. They're saying, we're going to bypass all that. We don't care about any of this stuff. We're going to stop law enforcement from even doing their job. It's not just arguing with them on the side of the road. Right. We're going to stop them from doing it.
Well, and we're going to intimidate them. And again, from this moral high ground they think they have, which is you cannot deport people. Do not deport these people. They really do think they're all emotional about it. Right? I mean, they've literally, we're seeing the fruits of people who've been absolutely brainwashed. So you hear the police chief superintendent make pretty much basic common sense, and here's the governor of Illinois.
Oh, God. I refuse to let Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Gregory Bovino continue on this march toward autocracy. Their plan all along has been to cause chaos, and then they can use that chaos to consolidate Donald Trump's power. They think they can fool us all into thinking that the way to get out of this crisis that they created is to give them free rein. Well, that plan will only work if we let it. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noem's thugs the hell out of Chicago.
So, I mean, that's specifically with ICE. And yet, when he finds out that Trump, this is last night, Trump was going to send in the National Guard, Pritzker, let's see, is this where he says it? No. Yeah, this is it. And then last night, he's like, this evening, President Trump is ordering 400 members of the Texas National Guard for deployments to Illinois, Oregon, and other locations within the United States. No officials from the federal government called me directly to discuss or coordinate. I'm like, well, why at this point,
right?
Who do you think you are? Why would they? You don't want to cooperate.
You're not going to cooperate. And obviously what it says is the law says that for him to call up the Illinois National Guard, the governor has to initiate it.
Yeah.
Right? But there's nothing, and he's finding this workaround. He's like, well, I can send the dudes from Texas, and I would be willing to wager that old Sarah Huckabee Sanders would send Arkansas National Guard.
Could easily
all of these red states, there are far more red states, folks, than there are blue states. Far more red states.
What would that? Oh man, can you imagine the narrative though? Can you see what the left would do with that? I just see it clear as day. The red states, most of them are in the South.
Yeah.
So we send our Southern boys up north.
Oh man.
To get law and order back in blue cities. What is that? What? I mean, come on. It reminds us of the 1860s.
Sure, but you're gonna have that 30% of the population that is going to disagree with it no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to be like, oh no, this is. Listen, let me just tell you something. Autocracy, being an autocrat, that's not hitting. Like that's a word that's not going to hit. It's not as strong as racist used to be. You know,
right.
we talk about like how racism. Okay, call me a racist. Yeah. I'm not a racist, but just call me a racist.
That word has no power.
Yeah,
anymore.
And fascist is clearly going into that realm. Like, oh, you're a fascist, and you're okay. Do you even know what that means? You got a sign? Like you've seen the videos where they're asking him like, well, what is Donald Trump doing that's making him a fascist? Well, he's not following the Constitution. Okay, well, what law has he broken? What constitutional law has he broken? You know, and they can't name it. They can't name it. But anyway, but my whole point of it is, you're going to have that 30% that are just going to disagree with Trump no matter what, and we're not going to have an agreement here. But what you're going to have is that other 70% of the country. They're going to realize that they can now go to the grocery store,
right,
and not have to lock everything in their trunk because they're afraid of their car getting broken into.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to walk down the street with their daughter or son or dog and not feel like they're about to be assaulted or robbed. And guess what? Safety, security, and the economy will always win out over these ridiculous talking points.
I think you're right. That's a really good point. So, I guess as a follow-up to what Pritzker was saying, why wasn't I contacted? There's now dispatch audio over the weekend that confirms that Chicago, the police were ordered not to assist the federal agents.
No.
And so this is when you're getting close to like the Insurrection Act. Now, Trump just said from the Oval Office a few minutes ago, he said, look, if people start getting killed, then the Insurrection Act is absolutely on the table. But meaning it hasn't gotten bad enough. He says, hasn't gotten bad enough for the Insurrection Act yet. But if you've got the Chicago Police Department essentially selling out the federal agents by just abandoning them, I don't think you're getting really close to this thing going hot really quick. Listen to this audio.
Any kind of particular hairstyle, just younger male Hispanic on foot wearing all black?
No hairstyle.
Okay, 10-4. And one is for the hit and run. This guy fled from the scene at 37th Place in Kedzie. It all started at I-55 in Kedzie. Then they fled southbound at Kedzie, where that offending vehicle crashed. They ran the federal agent off the road. They fled on foot westbound 37th Place from Kedzie. It was a male Hispanic younger wearing all black clothing. 99.
Yeah, send the cars in that direction. Have them stay put 2 or 3 blocks away, all right? Have them hold tight until I give you further direction, please.
Okay, 10-4. And for the units responding to 39th Place in Kedzie per 999, if you guys can just For the units responding to 39th and Place in Kedzie, if you guys can start heading there as quick as you can, and then just hold tight for instructions with 999.
999.
999.
So the Chief of Patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
Radio check. And again, per the Chief of Patrol, we have all the units that, per 999, Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
I mean, a federal agent's car has been run off the road, suspect fleeing. Don't worry about it. Who cares? The lawlessness. Now, I'm sorry, but like,
Yeah.
if this is either the United States of America or it's not, and I'm really quickly beginning to understand. Look, Abraham Lincoln. You think
Yeah.
about the decision that he had to make, suspending habeas corpus, everything that, if you go look, it destroyed our constitutional paradigm at that time, and it's
Yeah.
never really recovered from that, right? The idea that states didn't have a right to secede, and so, but for whatever reason, we don't have to relitigate history, but Lincoln made the decision, hey, I'm going to do this to keep the country together because I think that's my priority, or what? And it's very complex, but looking at what Trump has the ability to do right now, I mean, if this is what's going on in the modern age, and Donald Trump also sees the deaths, the murders, in particular Chicago, how do you not, if you've got the power, how do you not send them in? How do you not? How do you not secure the homeland? I don't.
How do you, as the commander-in-chief, hear this and try to keep your blood from just boiling over?
Right.
Because your federal agents, your fellow men and women in law enforcement, requested help because of a hit and run, a dangerous suspect who is fleeing and has caused chaos. Because that federal agent is requesting help from the Chicago Police Department, and the stupid, ridiculous, I'm going to try to stay Christian, mayor and governor of that state, mayor of the city, governor of that state, have told their officers to stand down. I can't imagine that a Chicago police officer will watch our video here, but I really wish they would. At what point do you not look up and say, are you kidding me?
What are we doing?
What are we doing here?
We
swore an oath to the Constitution, and you're telling me to stand down because you don't like what the commander-in-chief has done here. You don't like the fact that they are trying to make the streets safer.
I know it's pretty wild. I mean, I said this earlier, but I mean, it really does feel like a comic book movie, like Gotham City, and I was like, like dirty cops everywhere, is what it feels like. Although I think it's safe to say that order came, directly from the mayor.
Well, it came from the top, yes,
definitely.
And then it was the police chief who then goes down to the commanding officer on that shift, who calls like, you got people responding to it, and then you tell them to stand down.
And they say, hey, no, don't worry about it, turn around. Here is the mayor of Chicago earlier today, Mayor Brandon Johnson.
This administration is trying to divide us and pit people groups against one another. They want to divide and conquer. And as I said, in the South Shore, and this has been said very clearly, black people in one van and immigrants in another. In the face of this unprecedented threat, this moment calls for unity. Black, brown, white, Asian, young, old, north side, west side, south side, we must all pull aside our differences and defend one another. Because if we allow this to continue to be unchecked, by the time we realize what's happening, it'll be too late.
This man hates
This executive
white
order is a step towards accountability and is calling for the basic rule of law. In the coming days and weeks, we may be pushed, if not forced, to take even more dramatic action if this administration continues to escalate and provoke
what are
our
you gonna
people.
do?
In closing,
You're the mayor
last
of
night
a
I spoke
town.
with the
What
governor.
are you going to do, man?
and he informed me that the Trump administration is deploying Texas National Guard to our city. We will speak to our response later today. We'll do that with the governor as well as the attorney general. For now, let me just say that we are unequivocally going to continue to reject the military occupation of our city. The Trump administration must end the war on Chicago. The Trump administration must end this war against Americans. The Trump administration must end its attempt to dismantle our democracy.
All these drones in the back.
I'm looking at them.
As
And
we
I'm
are
like,
making
whoa.
historic progress in reducing violence, the Trump administration is seeking to destabilize our city and
Did
provoke
he really
chaos.
just claim they're reducing
He
violence?
said that they would use ICE as a pretext to send in the National Guard. And now they are doing just that. I've also said for the last couple of years that the extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War. They have repeatedly called for a rematch. But in the coming weeks,
they're already doing
we
what
will
I just
use this
I had to say.
opportunity
There it is.
to build greater resistance. Chicagoans are clear. Militarizing our troops in our city as justification to further escalate a war in Chicago will not be tolerated. The past teaches us that just because we are on the right side of history, that doesn't mean that we will succeed. It's going to take courage and determination, bravery, unity. But one thing that I know for sure in this great nation, this moment that we are in, Chicago was built for this moment. Immigrants from around the world, descendants of slaves, have come to this city to make it the global capital of the world. And now we stand in a moment that is testing our very humanity, and the city of Chicago will stand the test of time.
So because the South lost the Civil War,
Yeah.
that gives Chicago the right to be a sanctuary city and be lawless and resist the federal government from but again, it's perfect. Like,
Well-
in terms of like sending Texas or Arkansas or any of these southern states, they send that they're all going to say, "Oh, you guys are trying to refight the Civil War."
Yeah. Let me just tell you something. Chicago is already at war. There is a war on the streets of Chicago.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. And Trump is trying to stop that. And if you think he's trying to start a war, what is his motivation? Listen, let's go down the rabbit hole of what this idiot thinks. This idiot thinks that the President of the United States is declaring war on the city of Chicago, on the city of Portland, so that he can go in there and take it over. He wants to take it over because he's gotta have power over these cities. He's the President of the United States. Why does he need power over that city? He's trying to clean up the streets. He's trying to get these criminal illegal aliens out of the city. He is trying to solve our nation's crime problem, which got to all-time highs after COVID, during COVID.
and that's
up
why
to-
they're in Memphis. That's why the NG's in Memphis.
It's exactly right. And they're like, well, he's sending them into these blue cities. He's sending them where there's crime. And that just happens to be in blue cities.
Yeah.
Because of their governance.
Well, and you can really see a strong argument that I think, from the beginning, I always said if I had to do the mass deportations, right, or the target the violent criminals first, right?
Yeah.
That I would utilize all the red state governors to do that, to help enable it. But what that would do is then people would flee to the blue states.
Yeah.
And it's been a long enough time I think that's exactly what's happened. So I think ICE going to Chicago or LA is obviously the right move strategically if you're wanting to do this. And so Chicago's it was always going to be Chicago, and
Right.
New York needs to be next. Honestly,
Yeah. Another one. Now, it's a blue city in a red state. Is Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
We don't talk enough about Houston, Texas.
Right.
There, I have seen many, many posts from people like, do not, this neighborhood, like, do not go there.
Right.
In Houston.
Wow.
Now, and it's our fourth largest city, I believe.
Sounds right.
Somewhere around in there. Anyway, so it does not matter what state it's in. it's what the city is, and whether, and they just all happen to be blue cities, and I think it's because of their their blue policies with the no cash bail and all of that stuff. But Brandon Johnson is the most insufferable human being.
Yep.
Him and Pritzker, and the fact that they're in the same state, like, he has a 6% approval rating. Brandon Johnson does, based off of a poll from 6 months ago. I don't know what it is now, but he has a 6% approval rating. How the hell in Chicago, one of the bluest cities, and you've got a Democrat blue mayor who just happens to be black, how do you have a 6% approval rating? And it's because of crap like that. It's because you just fight to be fighting, rather than saying, you know what, we welcome we want safe streets here in Chicago.
Yeah.
We welcome anything that the federal government is willing to do to help us. We want safe streets. But they won't do it. They won't do it because of politics.
Just real quick, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Gateway Sight and Sound. If you have any, whether it's residential or commercial audio visual needs, they are your home and business automation experts. Check them out over at gatewaysightandsound.com. So this is interesting. Gavin Newsom, obviously. So Pritzker and Newsom could very well be on the same ticket in 2028.
Oh, my gosh.
It'd be a heavy ticket. But they could very well be on
heavy
the same.
on stupidity.
Yeah. Yes, and subcutaneous fat. Gavin Newsom, this is his response to Greg Abbott, who said, I fully authorize the president to call up 400 members of the Texas National Guard to ensure the safety for federal officials. That's the official mission. It's not quite like
Right.
Memphis, where they're using the Tennessee Guard to secure Memphis. This is more like, hey, this is out of control. We got to let ICE get the illegals.
Yeah.
But Gavin Newsom is now saying states cannot invade one another. See, again, another callback to the Civil War. So we've got messaging for both Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, and Gavin Newsom. This is where the Democrats are going. This is so simple, so fundamental to America. I cannot believe I have to type those words. America is on the brink of martial law, is what Gavin Newsom is saying. I just think Trump should lean into it. I mean, if that's the narrative they're going to go with, just drive them nuts. Go ahead and ask Arkansas's Guard, Alabama, Mississippi. Yep. Just literally everybody south of the Mason-Dixon line should have their National Guard called up and sent to New York and Chicago and everywhere else. At this point, just to troll them, but also to obviously secure the homeland. But
right, and then run it on a repeated, over and over loop the amount of arrests that they make. Like, we got this many, we got this many criminals off the streets today.
Yep,
we got this many off this week. Keep running that on a constant loop in ads everywhere so that you can say, okay, who are they arresting? Law-abiding citizens walking down the street trying to go to the grocery store without getting robbed?
No, they're not.
No.
And
no.
And on the Memphis front, I mean, I have seen so many videos on TikTok of Memphis residents being like, oh, my goodness, this is incredible.
You.
I am
Thank
like,
you.
yeah.
True blue Memphis.
Yeah.
Okay, Memphis is like 70% Democrat. Like, it is a huge Democrat city, right? 60% African American population there. It is true blue Democrats in the city of Memphis, and they are praising this. Thank you. You go to, there's some places, Paul, you and I know that if we want to go to the airport, we've got to go to Memphis. And there are places that you and I do not go in Memphis.
Man. Yeah.
Okay. There are places.
You're saying Lamar. You're saying Lamar on Thursday, and then I saw somebody being like, I was driving down Lamar, and it was a lot different.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe they were saying they were worried about the ICE agents picking up. But no, never mind. It was a joke. They were worried about the ICE agents picking up hookers. Like being tempted
on Lamar. I don't. If you've ever seen those hookers, I don't think they're very temptuous. Those
sorry,
ladies of the night need to hit the gym. Some of them, Anyway, so my whole point of it is, it's a dangerous city. St. Louis, dangerous city. I hope it's next. Little Rock here in our own state, Little Rock needs some help.
Yeah,
you know,
it could be done quickly. I
think. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to send them into these blue cities because it's a haven with this sanctuary city policy. And so what we're getting is all of these criminals that came across the border that Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis were busing to these Democrat cities are now in these Democrat cities. Well, now that the Republicans are in power, they're like, hey, we know where they are. Let's go get them. Right. And they're trying to get rid of these criminal aliens, as well as how many illegal guns are they taking off the street? How many criminals who have 15 outstanding warrants are being arrested right now? How many crimes are not being committed because
That's a good point.
of this presence?
And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to make us feel bad about the enforcement, because I saw a video the other day of it was an illegal who had a warrant.
Yeah,
he already had a warrant with his wife, and they had a 1-year-old baby in the car.
Yeah.
And the ICE agent came up and said, "Hey, get out of the car."
Yeah.
They said no. Well, so they broke the window, and of course, then the woman screaming, "We've got a 1-year-old! We've got a 1-year-old! We've got a 1-year-old!" And it's like, you're here legally, and you've got a warrant out.
You're coming into custody.
Yeah, and so that's unfortunate. I hate that for the child. I hate that, but I'm sorry. Like, are we going to have laws or not? The guy's here legally, and he's a criminal.
Right. So, you're saying that the police officers put that 1-year-old in danger, where our side, which is the correct side, says that the dad did.
Yes.
The dad you didn't get out of the car, you didn't accept what was about to happen, and you caused the situation. What is that police officer supposed to do? Wait a minute. So you're not going to get out of the car? You got a warrant? You're here illegally? I'm supposed to arrest you, but you're not going to get out of the car. You're free to go.
Yeah.
Like, what, is that how you anticipate? Is that how you think it's going to go? And it's not going to happen. You're going to be in handcuffs one way or the other.
Yep.
How much danger are you going to put your loved ones in while you're waiting to go in those handcuffs? It goes back to what I was trying to say. Every attorney is going to tell you, fight it in court.
That's right.
Don't fight it on the sides of the streets where you and your family are in danger.
Yep. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Just kind of looking over some of the headlines here. If we have anything new. Oh, wow, look at this headline. FBI Director. I haven't seen this either. FBI Director Kash Patel. Let's throw this up on the screen real quick. We weren't planning on cover this, but FBI Director Kash Patel, we recently uncovered proof that phone records of U.S. lawmakers were seized for political purposes. That abuse of power ends now. Under my leadership, the FBI will deliver truth, accountability. All right, well, just
Jack Smith
get to arresting more people.
Yeah,
Cash.
Jack Smith tracked private communications calls of nearly a dozen GOP senators during the J6 probe, FBI says. Okay, Jack Smith, how he has not been perp walked at this point. That dude is corrupt.
Ed Martin claims, according to reports, Ed Martin in the DOJ says, we've got emails of Jack Smith coordinating with either Susan Rice or Valerie Jarrett, I can't remember, that they were going to try hundreds of people.
Yeah.
After Kamala won, they were going to have show trials in absentia. Hundreds of people were going to be tried in absentia and thrown in jail.
So crime would have been running rampant.
Oh my goodness!
And our Justice Department, under President Kamala Harris, would have been just arresting Republicans. What is our Republican president and Congress doing? They're arresting actual criminals.
Yeah.
They're going to where the crime is. They're not, trying to arrest a Republican senator. Now, speaking of Democrat senators who need to be arrested, I can't wait to see an Adam Schiff perp walk.
Yeah, whether it's mortgage fraud or whatever it is.
Something.
No, I completely agree. This goes back to my previous point during the day, though. They're going to think we're fascists when they're when I think they're the actual fascists. Yeah. That's where we're at right now. And so it's either our side puts these people in jail, whether you're a violent criminal or whether you're James Comey, or it'll be full-blown communism on us when they come back into power. Yeah. And I mean full-blown history book, Bolshevik revolution, communism in our country if we fail to actually do what they're trying to do. So
I agree.
The average American family, your family, my family, is really at risk if they fail.
What we have to do, in my opinion, is exactly what you said. You have this power right now. You have all three chambers. Of course, the big elephant in the room is the government shutdown. Got to get the government opening. And I don't know. You know, we were talking about this off air. Like, what is the the Democrats' plan here? Just to, hey, we're going to hurt as many people as we can by keeping the government shut down and asking them to reverse a bill that they passed, the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
We're going to make them reverse that bill. Okay.
That's over and done with.
It's over and done with. It's already been passed. It's already been signed into law, right? It was signed into law on the 4th of July, right? Yeah. Didn't he sign it on the 4th of July? Excuse me. So they've been sitting here waiting on this, right? And what they're going to do is continue to have all of these government shutdowns, and all of these people who should be receiving a paycheck are not receiving a paycheck, and they are trying to relitigate a bill that's not how it works. And there's been so many of them that have come out and said, this is not how you do this. Pelosi, Schumer, all of them saying, hey, you never tried to debate policy by shutting the government down. That's not what
you're going to lose you're going to lose the public opinion every single time.
Every time. And they don't care. So what I say, to your point, when you say use the power that you've got while you've got it, go ahead and do this, because if you don't arrest those people, by the time they get back into power, we're going to have full-blown communism.
Yep.
You use that power that you have, and you quit giving a damn what they say.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't care if you call me a fascist. Don't care if you call me a racist. I don't care. I'm doing the right thing right now while I've got the power, and I'm going to try to take out all of these people who would see the government destroyed rather than see a Republican continue in power.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. If they don't do it, then the whole country is going to be J6 prisoners.
Sure.
You know, the next 4 years. Here is Chuck Grassley. Eric Daugherty saying, breaking in a bombshell discovery, senators have uncovered that the Biden FBI spied on 8 GOP senators during Jack Smith's Arctic Frost investigation. This is grounds for arrest, so maybe this is it right
Hopefully.
Here. Solicitation of these telephone records, which I think emphasizes the political weaponization that was behind all this effort. And we're still getting more information, but we've released some records today, and I'll let Senator Johnson take over from here, and then each one of you colleagues can join in when you want to, whatever you want to say.
Respectfully, he's very
First
old.
of all, I want to thank Senator Grassley. It is because of his relentless advocacy for whistleblowers that a lot of this information is surfacing right now. We wouldn't know about the list of 100 Republican entities that were targeted by Jack Smith's Arctic Frost investigation.
One of them
I don't
was
think
Charlie
we know about
Kirk,
this as well. So we need whistleblowers. I think Dan Bongino and folks at the FBI, they don't know where all the records are hidden. They still don't. They're not necessarily getting 100% cooperation. But this is outrageous what has happened. I just want to give you a timeline of this. I think you've already got the FBI sheet that shows the number of members of Congress that were targeted. Representative Kelly, Senators Graham, Haggerty, Hawley, Sullivan, Tuberville, myself, Senator Lummis, and Blackburn. This memo was dated September of 2023. To put it all into context, the Mar-a-Lago raid occurred in August of 2022. Jack Smith announced the indictments against President Trump in August of 2023. So this is almost 2 months later. They're casting this net, this fishing expedition against members of the Senate and the House. Again, I've been investigating this with Senator Grassley. This doesn't surprise me, but it should shock every American of what the Biden administration has done. And by the way, this is the first.
I think if Kamala had won,
yeah,
they were going to put senators in jail.
Oh yeah.
First time I was targeted by the FBI under the Obama administration, the same thing happened to both Senator Grassley and I. As part of the Foreign Influence Task Force, we were giving a briefing to try and convince us that the Hunter Biden laptop was no big deal. Basically, trying to throw us off the track. So this is major corruption that's being revealed inside the Obama and Biden Department of Justice, the FBI. And I'll turn it over to, I guess, Senator Haggerty, who's one.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm not surprised at all, but maybe now they'll be. Or now that senators were targeted, maybe they'll care a little bit more.
Yeah, I see Tuberville back there. I wish I could heard from Tuberville because
me too. I like him.
He shoots totally straight.
Yeah,
there's no word salads. Dude, just
do you know?
fires.
Like one of his first coaching gigs was here at Arkansas State.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where he. And then obviously
the rise to fame obviously was at Auburn.
Yeah,
but,
right. Yeah,
so he's kind of
big deal. But
he's kind of a legend there in the state of Alabama. They say he's going to run for governor.
He is.
He is running for governor.
He is running for governor,
and I see Marsha Blackburn back there too. I really like her as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll win governor easily.
I can't imagine why he wouldn't.
Unless the Crimson Tide fans are just we can't do it.
We can't do it. Can you imagine if Tommy Tuberville was running against Nick Saban for governor of Alabama?
Oh, wow.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But we're making light of this, but think about this, Paul. That's earth-shattering stuff there when you find out that the Biden administration was literally just fishing for anything that they could get to take down sitting Republican senators. Okay? Now, this is not Adam Schiff, like, me advocating for the arrest of Adam Schiff and Adam Schiff going on national television and lying over and over and over. We've got the evidence showing that Trump is a Russian asset. Like, people forget that. Adam Schiff went on national television countless times, Paul, and said Donald Trump is a Russian asset, straight out of a 007 movie.
Yeah.
Right? Donald Trump is a Russian asset. He lied. He 100% knew he was lying.
Yes.
And we had our House of Representatives, the chair of the House Intel Committee, Rick Crawford, on here saying that Adam Schiff, when he was in the member of the House, used to hear classified documents, walk out to the media spray, right, which is just this gaggle of media members, and goes out there and he's giving classified information to the American public on national television. And now he's allegedly committed mortgage fraud as well. That is different than a sitting United States president, and let's be honest, it wasn't Biden. It was his cronies behind the scenes investigating and fishing for anything that they could get for a sitting Republican senator to get arrested.
You're right. It's wild when you think about it, because they spied on Trump in 2016, and then they took power back in 2020. They took power back in 2020, and they did the same thing. Basically, what that's like.
Well, the House had
so
the
they're
power
never
back
going to
in
stop
2018.
unless you put them in jail. They will not stop. They did the same thing. They basically went right back to their same intel oligarchy tactics.
At this point, they've got to feel invincible, unless this is creating some sort of groundswell where they're like, okay, wait a minute, they're kind of they're on the trail here, and this Kash Patel with his crazy eyes seems like he's kind of a bulldog here, and he's going to take us out. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I hope. Oh my gosh, I hope it does.
Let's real quick. I wanted to cover this before we go.
This guy's a piece of garbage.
This Virginia Attorney General candidate by the name of Jay Jones. I think this ties everything. This really ties the whole show together about the violent Democrat cities. The chickens are coming home to roost. They've been sanctuary cities. The intel oligarchy spying on members of the Senate. All of it. It all comes down to This was my my sub-headline on Milston earlier was, yes, Virginia, they want us dead. The left wants us dead.
Find me any Republican attorney general, anybody having anywhere close to a message, text message, Facebook message, direct message, anything. Find me any Republican saying anything near this.
So this was the context of this is there was a death of a centrist Democrat state senator, state rep that had died. Democrat.
Yeah, the crazy leftists are like the centrists. They're as evil as Republicans.
And Republicans were sending their condolences.
Yeah.
And this is what set Jay Jones off.
Couldn't handle it.
He is talking to an assemblywoman by the last name of Conyers, okay, another Democrat.
Okay.
And she says, well, they say nice things about everyone. And he says, if those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves, send them out awash in something. And she says, Jay Jones. And then he says, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, who is the Speaker of the House at the time in Virginia, Hitler, or Pol Pot. Gilbert gets the 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time.
Okay, stop. He's saying there are 3 people, but he only has 2 bullets, which is this common thing where, you know, whatever. Gilbert, Hitler, and who's Pol Pot?
Pol Pot. He was a really bad dude.
Okay.
Asian guy.
Okay, sorry. So he's like, Gilbert gets both of the bullets in the head, meaning I'm not even going to take out Hitler, who killed 6 million Jews.
Right.
Right? Wow.
So then, she says, Jay, please stop. He says, LOL, okay. And then she says, and this is a credit to, I guess, another centrist Democrat somewhere in Virginia. She says, it really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death on them. Yeah, as it should, because she is not that far gone, apparently. She's at least a little bit of a decent human being to say, yeah, of course, like, this bothers me. I don't like this. And then she says, you weren't simply asking questions and you know it. I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's, the Speaker of the House's wife, hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. And then he says, like Darth Vader would say, quote, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. So we're the fascists, Rob. But they are backing this guy. This guy's not stepping down. He's going to continue to run. I guess I can't. And then then he says that
the worst part is his last one. Yeah. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil, and that they're breeding little fascists?
Yes.
Yes.
So they don't have a right to live. And this is
whatever you say about them, whatever you do to them is justified. That's the same mentality that killed Charlie Kirk.
That's exactly right. And so this again is the feature. And if the Trump administration does not restore true law and order and accountability to the people that have done what they've done to this country, we all know who they are. There's a long list.
Yeah.
Then their plan is to eliminate us.
Does he have the right to feel this way and to say these things in America? Yes. Should he be the Attorney General of a state?
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine if you're a Virginian and he wins and you're a Republican and you're like, the Attorney General doesn't think I have a right to live because of my political opinions or my kids.
Well, how am I going to be treated fairly?
Exactly.
In the court system. If the Attorney General and a centrist Democrat dies and Republicans, what do we always do? Even if a far leftist dies.
Sorry for you, praying for you. You know, hey, I remember this time he was a good guy. We disagreed, but we had some laughs together.
Sure. Yeah, there's not a single solitary thing that I agree with that person on, but you know what? I feel bad that he's died. I feel bad for his family, his children, all of that stuff. No. The far leftists, which Jay Jones obviously is, they have no compassion. They scream that they have compassion. We're the caring side. No, you're not. Don't put us in the same box. We are not the same as you, Jay Jones. Yeah. We are not the same. You need a heart change.
100%.
We are frustrated about the way that things go in the country under Democrat leadership. We are frustrated about that. But we're not trying to kill you for it.
Yeah.
We're not. And you believe that these people don't deserve to live. We are not the same.
I'll also add this, that you've got Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. She's running for governor. Okay, so the Democrats are trying to flip this from Youngkin. And I don't know, is Youngkin running again or is Winsome Sears?
He can't.
Okay,
they have one-term governors.
Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor, is challenging Spanberger. Well, Spanberger is former CIA. It's a well-documented fact. She admits it. She's former CIA. And so what's one of the problems here is if the Democrats take Virginia, they're going to use that apparatus as a deep state stronghold for all of them to run to, and then they're going to try to use the power of the state of Virginia to go after the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Because, they'll go after Pete Hegseth or all these other, because, they'll trump up the charges. That's what's at play here. That's why Virginia does matter.
Listen to Winsome Sears talk for 5 minutes and tell me she shouldn't be the governor of that state.
Yeah.
She 100% should be. Wish that she was natural born, because I would love to have her as the first female president.
Rob, thank you so much for being with us.
Yep.
We appreciate it very
Glad to be
much.
here,
Folks,
man.
that's all the time we have for this edition of the Paul Harrell program. Don't forget to go to paultalkshow.substack.com if you want to become a paid subscriber and get a copy of Left Wing Will and The Red Pill. That's all the time that we have. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow.